welcome back to my keto kitchen. Today is my Sicilian keto kitchen. I'm so excited to be making a Sicilian ricotta cheesecake. I love cheesecake. Carl hates it. So we're compromising today. We're usually dairy free, but I do like cheesecake at least once a year. And we have fewer issues with ricotta cheese than we do with cream cheese, so I'm making a traditional Sicilian ricotta cheesecake. These are usually made for either Christmas or Easter. I'm making this for our Thanksgiving today. So you start off with 3 pounds of ricotta cheese or ricotta cheese. And in here I have the zest of 3 lemons. Now I use this microplaner to zest the lemons, and I'll put a link to the microplaners where you can purchase them. But make sure you just do the yellow parts and not getting any of the white pithy part, which is bitter. Also, you add 8 eggs. Yes, 8 eggs. That's a lot of eggs. My mother never made cheesecakes, but my aunt, her sister, made the best cheesecakes. And every Christmas, all of us cousins would beg her to make her cheesecakes. So I had to look up a recipe since my mother never did this. This recipe calls for 1 1/4 cups of sugar. Now, being keto, you can use granular sweeteners. I wouldn't do 1 1/4 cups of a keto sweetener. I'd start with half of that, maybe a 1/2 cup, and then test to see how sweet it is. You can always add sweetener. You can't take it away. I am using better stevia glycerite because we try not to use the granular sweeteners. And I will test this later once I start mixing it to see if it's enough. I don't like sweet things, so I tend to put in very little sweetener. And it calls for a teaspoon of vanilla extract. This is vanilla extract I made myself. Vanilla beans in, this is either vodka or bourbon. I'm not sure which one this is. I've done it in both. Now you put this, I'm using my stand mixer. And I'm using the paddle mixer. You could use the beater, but paddle mixer works great. I haven't used the paddle mixer in a long time. You can use a hand mixer. Just make sure you mix it till it's light and fluffy and put it on low speed. You can do it by hand, but again, make sure that it's light and fluffy. Now I'm going to start this off. It says speed 2 to mix it in. Speed 2, which is a low speed, and it says to mix it for 10 minutes. Whoops. So I'm going to mix this for 10 minutes as the recipe says. It seems like a long time, but it's supposed to put air in it and make it light and fluffy. So I'll see you back in 10 minutes. So the batter has been beating for 10 minutes. I don't think you actually need to do 10 minutes, and it'll work perfectly fine with a hand mixer. Just make sure it's all light and fluffy. It might look a little different. I don't have the granular sweeteners, so that might take a little longer. But I also forgot to mention that you're going to be zesting 3 lemons. So what do you do with the lemons? You juice the lemons and you make lemon curd. And I'll link to my lemon curd recipe because I'm putting this lemon curd on top of my cheesecake. Now I have this great pan. It's Fat Daddy's, and again I'll link to this. And I was watching a baking show and they were using these pans. I have not had any problems with these leaking, so I don't have a sheet pan underneath it. I have had problems with other springform pans leaking, so you might want to put a baking sheet under it. This is a 9-inch pan, by the way, and I have a 9-inch parchment paper that I put inside. Again, all of this can be purchased on Amazon. And you want to grease the sides and bottom with olive oil. Now I'm using an olive oil spray. You can just use olive oil. Because you don't want this to stick. So now you just pour the mixture in after I get all the grease off my hand. So this is nice and light. and fluffy, so you just pour it in. I did test it to make sure I had enough sweetener. I personally would love this with no sweetener, so maybe at some point I'll make a savory ricotta pie. So you're going to put this in a 425-degree oven for 30 minutes. Then you're going to reduce the heat to 375 for another 40 to 45 minutes, and then you'll take it out of the oven. So I'm going to put this in the oven, and I'll do all the temperature changes, and I'll see you back when I take it out of the oven for the next step. I just took the cheesecake out of the oven. It was in there 30 minutes at 425 and 40 minutes at 375. So you take it out, and then you want to run a knife around the edge so that it's not sticking to the sides. And you do that so that when it starts to cool, it's not stuck to the side of the pan and it's not going to crack. What I have seen somebody do with regular cheesecakes is they just turn the oven off and open the oven door and let it sit in the oven for a while to reduce cracking. But this, it's not attached to the sides. I'm going to let it cool for maybe an hour, and then I'm going to put it in the refrigerator. So loosen the cheesecake from the sides, let it cool for an hour. When it's cool enough to put it in the refrigerator, put it in the refrigerator and let it stay in the refrigerator 3 to 4 hours. Better if it's overnight, but I'll be back when I take it out of the refrigerator and put my lemon curd on it, and oh, it's gonna be so good. I let the cheesecake cool for about an hour. I put it in the refrigerator. It's been in the refrigerator for 3 hours. I just took it out, and oh, it's gorgeous. Look at this. This looks so good. I cut a piece out. I put some of my lemon curd on it. So now I can't wait to try it. And the lemon curd is just amazing. So, cheesecake with lemon curd. I didn't make the cheesecake very sweet. It's got a slight lemon taste from the lemon zest. The lemon curd is sweet and tangy. Oh, Sicilian ricotta cheesecake. Delicious.